Good morning and welcome to SAT Prep for Tuesday, May 12th. Today I'm going to go over the work that I had posted for you yesterday. So the first problem we had to do was number 2. And what did it tell you? Well, it gave you some info. It said that W is between -1 and 0. Now, what does that really mean? It means that W is a negative fraction that's not smaller than -1. So W is a negative fraction. Okay. Kind of important to know that, because what happens when you square a negative? Squaring a negative makes it positive. What happens when you take a negative to the third power? It's negative again. If you understand that, then you have to know that options A and B cannot be correct, because options A and B put the third power of W greater than the second power of W, and it can't be, because a negative is never going to be bigger than a positive. But let's just say you didn't understand that or didn't recognize that. Choose a number. Plug it in, see what works. I'm going to say W is -1/2. It's easy to work with. I'm choosing a value. It's a negative number, and it's in the right range. It's between 0 and -1. So I'm going to choose -1/2 as my value, and I'm going to plug it in. I already know that A and B won't work, so I'm not even going to bother with them, because I know the third power will be negative, and it can't be bigger than the second power, which is a positive. So I'm just going to start with option C. And option C said W, well, that's -1/2, would have to be less than W to the third power, so that's -1/2 to the third, which would have to be less than W squared, which is -1/2 squared. Again, choosing a value is a great idea, especially in a situation like this. So that means -1/2 would be less than -1/2 to the third power is -1/8. And that would have to be less than -1/2 squared, which was +1/4. This is true. This is a true statement. On a number line, if this is 0, I'll say this is -1, and this is +1, because everything falls within that range. -1/2 is over here. -1/8 is much closer to 0. And +1/4 is about over here. That's the right order. -1/2 is less than -1/8, which is less than +1/4. The answer is C. I don't even have to test for D. It's not necessary. Okay. Recognizing that what the negative squared and a negative cubed will do kind of saves you the time of having to check options A and B, because they're in the wrong order. Okay, moving on. Number 3 tells us that K is an odd integer. Integer is just a regular counting number. I'm going to just choose a number that's an odd integer. Well, just choose an easy odd integer. Best to avoid 1. Sometimes it can be, let's say, problematic when you check values. I'm just going to choose number 5. 5 is an easy odd integer to use. We want to find an answer that would be even from choices A, B, C, D. All right, well, plug it in. That's all you have to do. Plug it in. A says 3 times K, so 5. That's 15, and 15 is not even. Try B. B would be 5 to the third power, which is 125, which is not even. Try C. 5 squared plus 1 is 26. Well, that works. I don't have to try D. I found my answer. But if you did, for some reason, try D, 5 plus 2 is 7, which is still obviously odd. So far, the 2 answers are C's. Hopefully, you're doing okay. Incidentally, no matter what you had chosen, All right, that would have worked. So choose an easy number to substitute in. You'll be okay. 4 is probably the only one that might have given you a problem. It gave you the formula for the volume of a cylinder, pi r squared h. And it asked you what values of r and h would make the volume equal 24 pi. Well, if the volume is 24 pi, and pi is right there, the r squared h has to be 24. Okay, so r squared h has to be 24. The choices give you options for r and h. You plug them in and you see what equals 24. So a would be 2 squared times 3. 2 squared is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. And 12 is not 24, so it's wrong. B would be 2 squared times 6. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 6 is 24, and we're finished. If you had chosen, or if you had continued working, C would have given you 48, and D would have given you 192, both of which obviously were not a correct answer. So 4 is B. Moving on. 5 was very straightforward. It gave you a line segment, and it had 3 little chunks, and it asked you what the entire segment's value would be. So one chunk, the first chunk, was 2x plus 4. Then you'd add together the 8 that came next, plus the 10 minus x that followed. With or without parentheses around the 10 minus x, it won't make a difference, because when you drop the parentheses, it will still look the same as it does currently. Combine the like terms. 2x minus x is x. 4 and 8 and 10, positive 22. And that's choice B. There's nothing else to do here. So number 5 is just x plus 22, which is choice B. Okay, great. And moving on to number 6, we got very similar process, but a different wording. So for number 6 told you that we have to subtract 3 minus 2x from x plus 3, from the sum of x plus 3 and 5 minus x. The wording is really, really important and specific. Subtracting from means it comes last. So the sum of x plus 3 and 5 minus x, we are subtracting 3 minus 2x from that sum, and that is important. This is the place where you might make a mistake. All right, in the first set of parentheses, I have x and minus x, so that cancels, and 3 and 5 is 8. But I'm subtracting this quantity, which means I'm distributing that subtraction. So it's minus 3 plus 2x, which is 5 plus 2x, or 2x plus 5. The order doesn't matter, but the answer was 5 plus 2x, which is A. Okay? Any questions? Just let me know. And that was number 6, to put the number on it. Now, number 7. Number 7 requires no work whatsoever. It requires you to read and understand how to put an equation together. So it's how this person is going to make some money based upon a base salary and a commission. And I believe his name was Anton. Anton was very simply making $800, and, which is plus, 12% of his sales. And we were told to call his sales D. So 12% is 0.12 times D. That was answer choice B. There was nothing else to do. Just interpret the equation from the words. All right, that's it. For now, I'd like you to download the attached worksheet, which is the next page. And it's problems 8 through 12, and I'd like you to do all of them. It's more algebra review. The majority of the SAT is algebra. So please have that done and submitted to me by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. As usual, please show me any work you can. Make sure your answers are good. There's a point to doing all this. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.